Welcome to Comic Drop's weekly comic roundup, where we go through some of the comics that we picked up today and tell you guys what we think about them and whether or not we'd recommend them. I'm Alex Batts, and joining me today is my good friend and the biggest Aquaman fanatic that I know, Andrew Lilly. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Awesome. We actually have a lot of comics to go through today. There was a big list from DC, so I guess we'll start out with one of the bigger ones, Justice League 49. So I know that you said you didn't actually pick this one up, but it's the penultimate issue for Darkseid War, and it moved the story along really well, I thought. There was a couple twists there was one big twist, actually, that I didn't expect that was really cool. The art was amazing, like normal. Fayok just continues to kill it. It was definitely a great issue, and definitely recommend it for anyone that's been reading Justice League, or if you want to get into Justice League, start with this arc and just read it. It's been great.
It's one of their biggest arcs yet.
Yeah, it's changed the landscape of the DC universe significantly. Next up on the list, I actually have Deathstroke, which I've said before is my guilty pleasure series. I know that you don't really like this one that much, Andrew.
Yeah.
I like it. It's not like a spectacular book, I don't think. I read it because it has cool action sequences. So if you like cool action sequences and want to see Deathstroke just like kick the crap out of people, I definitely recommend picking it up.
Yeah, it's one of those books where you're not going in it for the story.
Yeah, you should definitely know what you're getting into when you buy it. It's not a story-driven book. It's very much a look at how awesome Deathstroke looks when he's punching guys.
Exactly.
But I mean, if that's what you want, then it's great.
Yeah.
And then also continuing the League of Superman story, Superman and Wonder Woman came out today, which I actually didn't pick up. But what did you think of that one?
I thought it was good. It was a good continuation of the Super League story arc or storyline, whatever. And it's more action oriented than the last few issues have been. And I know that was kind of one of our complaints before, because the last few issues, they were so emotion driven, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to have those emotional moments, but at the same time you have to find a balance. And
exactly. And you'll find it with this issue. We find out more about this new Superman who's been causing chaos in Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
And so Superman and Wonder Woman go to Argus to try to find out who this guy is. We see Ulysses from the Men of Tomorrow story arc.
Okay, I remember him.
Yeah, the one that Jeff Johns wrote.
Yeah.
So he makes an appearance again.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it was a fun book.
I'll have to pick it up. I totally forgot that it even came out today.
Yeah. Oh, and great art. Ed Benes is on art, and he's one of my favorite artists. The book looked beautiful. I wouldn't say it was as good as some of the others, because it doesn't really move the plot too far forward. It's just kind of, like I said, most of it's like a big action scene.
Next, we have The Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, which it feels like it's been forever since we got the last one of these. I don't even know when issue 3 came out.
February, wasn't it?
Wow, it's been a long time. But I know that I had felt like for this story, the first couple issues were good, and I really liked them. But to me, they definitely felt like they were part of a larger story. It was very like they definitely don't stand as strongly individually as they do like together, which I mean makes sense, and you should know that going into it.
Agreed.
But I think that this issue really amped up the level of intensity and like what's happening. Mm-hmm. And like Justice League today too, not something else happened in this issue that I did not see coming at all. I didn't think they were going to do it, and so it was a really cool moment. But if you've been reading The Dark Knight 3, obviously you should pick it up. But
yeah, and I know a lot of complaints are that people really don't like how Miller portrays Superman in this book, but this issue, he did a really good job. And Brian Azzarello, can't forget him.
Yeah, it was. I think seeing Superman in like he was in this issue was really, just what he was doing was really strong, and you really felt it. And
yeah.
So
exactly.
It was really great. It was definitely, I didn't expect the emotional impact that this issue had going into it.
Yeah, like you said, it really raises the stakes. Don't want to get too much into spoiler territory, but if you're keeping up with The Dark Knight Returns or The Master Race, definitely pick this one up.
Yeah, I'm very excited and eager for the next issue. Hopefully it's not another 4.5 months.
I hope it comes out relatively soon.
Next, we actually have a book from last week that I know you definitely want to touch on. Aquaman 51 came out. What did you think about that one?
I liked it a lot. We got to see Scavenger return, which is a classic Aquaman villain. We learned more about the new villain, Deadwater. I like him.
I think he's really cool. He's I think his struggle as a villain is really interesting. They've really made him a character that you can empathize with.
Exactly. It's different because I like how he doesn't even know that he's the villain.
Yeah, but then he turns into this huge monster and just destroys everything.
Exactly. Just he can teleport through any form of water, and even through something as small as a teardrop, and it's cool. But I would say though that some people might find it boring, a little boring, because there's not a lot of action sequences. Really, the last 2 pages, I think, are all you really get.
Yeah, I remember that my complaint whenever I read it last week was that the ending kind of just got there. Like, I felt like I had a couple more pages whenever I ended it, but I mean, they're saving that for next issue. So.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, Dan Abnett has done a fantastic job on this series.
I really like he writes Aquaman and Mara's interactions really well.
Perfectly.
It's definitely awesome to see them going at each other like Aquaman, like just interacting how we should have been seeing Aquaman and Mara interact for
exactly
a long time.
I said a couple days ago, it's like the perfect combination of like Jeff Johns' run and Jeff Parker's.
Yeah.
And it just feels so natural. But yeah, good issue. If you're hesitant about trying Aquaman again, get back on board because the book is great.
Definitely. After Dan Abnett has done a fantastic job picking it up, it definitely feels like an Aquaman book again. Next up is Grayson. I think this is issue 17. I'm not actually 100% sure on that. It's somewhere around there. But this one's the almost final issue of Grayson, and I really like this one because the way that they've tied Grayson into Morrison's lore from his Batman run is really cool for me. And so reading this issue especially, and it's built up to be a payoff for what Morrison started, and so it's really cool. Like, it feels like I'm almost reading Morrison's Batman run again, except like more like just an extra part of it, and so that's cool. And the one complaint I will have though is that since it is kind of branching off of Morrison's run, but it wasn't like his original intention, it's a little confusing, and you kind of have to like try to like jump some conclusions and just like piece it together yourself. If you just go with the flow of the comic, you'll be fine. But I think that's the only thing, is that it can be confusing if you don't know a lot about the characters and Spiral and what their whole thing is.
And that's a series I need to get back in. I tried like the first couple issues and then kind of just lost interest, but everyone's saying it's such an amazing book.
Yeah, I'd recommend picking up the trades whenever they come out, because it's definitely worth picking back up, because I was like you, I stopped it after a couple issues at first, and then I heard everyone talking about it, like you said, that it was so good, and so I got back in, and it's been really great. Next up, we have Sinestro, which actually I have never read any Lantern books, and would love to get into them, but what did you think of Sinestro?
Oh, it's great. It's one of my favorite series at DC, and I'm so sad that it's ending. But so we see that Saranac Natu, Sinestro's daughter, has sort of taken over as the leader of the Sinestro Corps after their battle with the Paling. And I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but we see the Red Lanterns returning, which is amazing because they're my favorite Corps. And so and Saranac's mission is trying to locate the Green Lanterns who have disappeared since June. I think that's when
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, since the DCU. Yeah, so she's trying to locate them again. It's a great series, and you've never read the Lantern?
No,
Lantern
actually, because I wanted to wait and read Jeff Johns' run on Green Lantern to get started in it, but
oh yeah, the Lantern books are some of my favorite.
I know the mythos just seem so cool, and I really want to get into it. I'm just not sure where to start yet, and so
yeah, no, I mean that makes sense. I haven't read like all of his Green Lantern run, but still planning on it.
yeah,
but it's great. It's a good book. There's only one more issue left, which is sad, but Colin Bunn has done it. He really knows how to write Sinestro, so
it's so crazy how polarizing a writer can be depending on who he's writing.
Exactly. Obviously, he has his strengths, and
obviously he has his weaknesses.
Yeah.
Aquaman.
But yeah, if you're reading it or if you want to read it, I totally recommend it. It's a great story. Really gives Saranic a more of a role, which is good. She's like one of my favorite Green Lanterns, and she never gets the spotlight. So, yeah.
And we have two more left before we get to the big one, which I've been saving for the end. The second to last issue of Poison Ivy, Cycle of Violence, right?
Cycle of Life and Death.
Cycle of Life and Death. I don't know why I said violent, but that came out last week. And so what did you think about that issue?
I liked it. I've been liking the series so far. I'm kind of sad it's just a mini series, but nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I feel like Ivy could hold her own title pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like she can. She has a huge following on social media. I think they're kind of the reason why she has a book in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one kind of continues. She's trying to find her research. She's been developing these like sporelings, which are like these human-plant hybrids. Which are
kind of like how they were, how she did in that one Batman the Animated Series episode.
Yeah.
Where she like faked her own family.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
Cool.
So in this issue we saw Catwoman, which is great because I love Catwoman.
Always nice to see Catwoman.
Always nice. And so this one I actually liked the most. I felt like this one kind of moved the plot forward quite a bit, whereas the last couple have sort of just almost felt like filler to me.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of a problem that a lot of miniseries and like smaller arcs run into, is that the writer will try to stretch out the beginning part and then like catch up and shove everything in at the end.
Exactly. But the only downside that I had about this issue was that I think there were like 3 artists who worked on this issue, and it got a little jarring at times when they would just switch between them. But,
yeah, that sounds really odd. I don't think that I've read I don't think I can name any books that I've read that had 3 artists on it in the same issue.
Yeah, so still, it was a good book. I recommend picking it up. She only has 2 issues left, I believe. So yeah, it's a good book.
That's good. Okay, now the final one. Batman 51 came out today, and I actually am very emotional about this one. It is Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo in teams. It's their last issue on Batman together. And before it came out, Snyder had said, this is their love letter to the fans, and that's what this issue was. And it was the perfect send-off. It hit every note. They touched on things that they've covered in their run and had hints to everything. And the emotional beats were all there. Capullo's art is as spectacular as ever. And it was just
beautiful.
It was the perfect send-off to their run. It was exactly how Scott described it before it came out. I couldn't think of a better ending for their run.
Right. It was perfect. I mean, like, I loved how it went back to like the first issue, talking about like the Gotham Gazette.
The Gotham is idea that Snyder implemented. I love it so much, and the way that in this issue he used it to talk directly to the fans. He would like, because you felt very much in that issue like he was directly addressing us and saying like, hey, thank you for this. And
exactly.
it was really cool to see that, and I loved the issue. It couldn't, to me, they couldn't have done their final issue any better.
I have to agree. I read it twice, and the second time I was able to pick up on a few more things that I might have missed, and I loved how you thought it'd be like depressing, how Batman's back and he has to go back to Gotham and everything's got to be depressing, and he even thinks that it's a terrorist attack when the
power goes out.
When the power goes out, but you learn it's just this is gonna be a spoilers. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't read. But
it says it in the synopsis that it's a quiet night in Gotham, so it's fine.
Okay, but you find out that it was just a natural occurrence, and then they kind of, they go on, showing how Gotham's kind of evolved, how it's moving on.
You go through this journey with Batman of him seeing Gotham not at its worst.
Exactly. And
it's really, really awesome.
And it's fun to see his rogues one more time.
Yeah.
Going to Arkham and then meeting up with Jim on the rooftop again.
The meeting with Jim has one of my favorite moments in their entire run. I won't say what it is again for spoilers so you can experience, but that rooftop meeting was very... my hat's off to Snyder and Capullo, and
it was like a clean slate.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think is crazy, that I was thinking about that today at work. Like, they did so much, like, they took Batman and they did so much with him and put him through all of this stuff, but still managed to find a way to make it a completely clean slate for the next...
For the next team, exactly. And even Scott Snyder said that about that scene with Alfred looking at Bruce's back and there were no scars. Yeah. And I kind of felt like that too. It was kind of like the clean slate, we did what we needed to with Batman, and now it's time for him to have some new adventures.
And I think the coolest part about them doing it is that they gave him a clean slate without wiping away everything that they did. They found a way to make it to where everything that happened still did happen to him. It's just... it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Honestly, if you just want to hear someone praise Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's run on Batman, just come to me, and I could talk for hours.
Exactly. Alex is the biggest Batman fan I ever know.
But yeah, I would definitely, we would both definitely recommend Batman 51 and their entire run if you, for some reason, haven't read any of it yet.
And don't worry, they will be returning to Batman.
Yeah.
In the future.
It'll take a while before Capullo comes back, but Snyder's definitely not done with Batman. So.
Nope. He's coming back in All-Star Batman this summer, August. I believe.
All-Star Batman starts in August. So.
Yeah, but I mean, this issue was just.
Yeah,
perfect. It really was.
It was the perfect ending to their Batman. I think that's it, guys. Those are all the comics that we picked up today and what we thought about them. If you have any comics that you'd like us to talk about in the future that you pick up that we haven't touched on, please let us know in the comments. I'll try to add it to my reading list because I'm always open to new comics.
We'd love to. Read some new comics. We'll get to Marvel.
Yes, we promise.
We'll get some more Marvel soon.
No, this was a really DC-centric episode, but we're trying. We're spreading our fingers out into all the different Marvel comics. But thank you guys for listening, and be sure to keep it locked to Comic Drops for all the latest drops in superhero entertainment and news. Later.